Here's why my desired reality self will be way different from my current reality self. And I mean that in a good way. I'm going to get the most obvious part out of the way first, and that is, of course, the backstory and origins. I did not have it easy here in this reality when it came to how I grew up with my life circumstances, like being in a mean spirited household, constantly always falling short in love, and constantly always being casted out by my peers. Not even just my peers as well. I'm even casted out by even older people as well that are supposedly supposed to be the influential figures of this generation. And all of that has shaped me into who I've become now, but it's all bittersweet. Yes, I had my spiritual awakening and became an even better powerful human being than most of the population as a shifter. But at the same time, I'm upset that it had to be at the expense of my livelihood and it cost me years of my youth, which is totally okay. Both feelings can coexist simultaneously, but here's the thing with my desired reality self on the flip side. I grew up with circumstances always on my side, both in my desired reality and waiting room, and always had the blessing of getting nice things by actuality and not by probability. My origins will be completely different. I grew up in a normal functioning family that was financially stable. I got to experience my youth fully. I got to have the high school experience where I was taken seriously in both friendships and relationships. There's really no motivation behind that version of me, and that's not a bad thing at all because when I talk to people, I want to be able to say to them with pride where I came from and be honest with them about it. Here, on the other hand, it's not really fun having to either one flee from the topic when asked about my well being or my parents or anything like that, like how they're doing and stuff like that, or to just make up a complete lie just to avoid further questioning or deep conversations. Because that's the thing too, man. My origins here, they're not exactly like a first date story or just any first story in general you would tell to somebody. So yeah, like me having no motivation in my waiting room or desired reality, like without the complex backstory, would make it less of a burden. I can just tell how everything is to them with full honesty. I can just live life and coast through each day, just having fun with my comfort characters, going out on adventures, visiting other friends, being very influential in my community, impacting the world, and because of me not having to burden my CR origins anymore, it also does affect whatever choice I make and who I decide to be as a person as well. Which means if I want to be a hero, then I'll just be pure good, just like how my teacher is here and in my other realities. But if I want to be a villain, I'll be pure evil. If I choose to be a hero, then I'll be way easier to understand because the backstory is not as complex or deep, and I'd be respected and idolized everywhere, which means I pretty much just exist as a very blessed individual on my earth. If I want to be a villain, it's going to be a choice I make and not the one the world makes for me. I am only one here because of how the CR is. However, I'm pretty much the cool bad guy here because even though my ways of achieving my goals are very questionable, they're still noble, but in my desired realities, I'll actually be a real villain, with one with no motivation, which will make me even more scarier and possibly more badass as well. Let's use the horror villain analogy. This reality is basically the OG Friday the 13th series with 11 parts, because that's how many parts the OG series had. The whole series basically is trying to get you to understand where Jason Voorhees was coming from because while he's still a bad guy, Still, his motivations are noble. He's trying to avenge his mother and protect Crystal Lake. The dude was born an innocent kid, but then he was bullied and drowned by those malicious kids. And that would be the origin that defines the rest of the series in that Jason's current reality. Yeah, because the OG Friday the 13th series, that was basically the OG Jason CR. However, in the remake, when the Friday the 13th series shifted into a new reality, when it got rebooted, rebooted, when it got rebooted in 2009, shows a different Jason. In the reboot, the movie does still tell you his backstory. However, it's only for a few minutes, and then the rest of the movie is him being pure evil and killing people in a very sadistic way. He spared literally no one, where in the OG series, he spared a praying little girl and some gang members, but the reboot version of him, no one was spared. He only ever refused to kill one girl because she looked like his mother, but he locked her up and kept her hostage in a secret underground lair, so still pure evil to me. The point is, my desired reality is basically going to be the reboot. Everyone who's watching this right now that are permashifters or respawners are rebooting their lives. I've seen the comments, and just like me, y'all have motivations, whether you like it or not, to shift to your desired reality. That's only for here though. The question is, will your DR self have any? All of that is subjective, and you can decide where that stands for you.